That's right back, Charlie. Definitely.
You always use that active red line defending. I think it's like.
Am I live? Of course I'm live. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I hope everyone's in good spirits. I hope everyone's having a progressive week, with it being the halfway point technically of Wednesday. I hope everyone's first and foremost got their health. And on top of that, I hope you're having a progressive week in terms of your goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, aspirations, all of that good stuff, people. You know, without health, we're dead. So as again, you know, I can't stop stressing it, especially in today's day and age. I hope you've all got your health. Now, if you're tuned in, big up the 3 people tuned in so far. Obviously, you know, another day, another bit of footy in it. So, yeah, man, I thought, you know what? We are going to be live about 3 times today. We're live from now till probably 11:20-ish, 11:30. 11:30, we bring our YouTube cousins in. And then, as you know, 7:45, 15 minutes before kickoff, I will be live for the Europa League final between Eintracht Frankfurt and Rangers, people. Probably going to do a watch along on Thursday. Don't quote me. I'm considering what game, because on one hand, Chelsea-Leicester's probably the game that probably will sell the most tickets, but there's nothing to play for, innit? Arsenal have made sure Chelsea have qualified for the Champions League. Leicester probably hoping their disastrous season, which hasn't been made easy with injuries, is put to an end. If anything, it's probably Everton, Crystal Palace, really and truly, which is probably the game to watch, if I'm completely honest with you in that regard. So I might do one for that. Obviously Sunday's the last day of the Premier League, innit? So Arsenal versus Everton, that will all be up there in due course. So yeah, content and more content. You know, the end of the season is actually the season's the easy part. I'd say more content and more stuff has to happen when it's off season and that. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well and safe. In this live stream, obviously Arsenal have been linked with Gundogan. We ain't got a snowball's chance of really signing Gundogan. You can't really, for me, having won everything there is to win at City, respectfully, apart from the Champions League, there's nothing we could offer him apart from the fact that he knows Arteta. He could be an experienced player, you know, and the London aspect, you know. Why would you want to spend your peak to late years for Arsenal, really? Nothing to do with the club. Of course, we can attract him just on the prestige of name, but he'd be wasting his time here. What, he's 29 or 30 or something like that, you know. The project's good for young players, you know. In the next couple of years, Saka, Smith, all of that still have their best years in front of them. At 31 years of age, I mean, if you could get a decent payday, it would make sense. But Gundogan's better off trying something new. Obviously, congratulations to him and his wife, who have just announced the thingy as well. Just announced that they've become married. And obviously it's easy to link any Manchester City player with Arsenal Football Club for obvious reasons, people. With Arteta's ties, we've been linked with Jesus. Like unknown winners there said, bro, you know, we're linked with anyone really. Jesus, Sterling, Gundogan, even Bernardo last summer, Zinchenko was there. You know, we're linked with half the City players really. Whether we get them, whether we attract them is a completely different entity, as you know. I wanted to have a bit of fun and say, you know what do I think Arteta could improve at as well? So I'd actually say first things first, let's get some timestamps in. But yeah, I can't say it makes much sense. I can't say there is any sense in it and whatnot, people. But yeah, man. Anyways, moving on with that, let's just kick off straight away with that sort of stuff. There's hella Arsenal stuff, really. You know, everything's coming out with Arsenal losing, man. You know, obviously the think pieces are now coming out about where it's gone wrong. War chest stories, all of these sort of things, people, are all coming out now, as you would imagine. You know, as you would imagine. Like it's quite crazy, really. You know, even they're pessimistic on YouTube. Shout out Chris Davidson, man, said, "Hey, this is not coming to Arsenal." Maybe, you know, but it's something to talk about regardless. As I always say, these are nothing more than talking points. Nothing else, really, you know. But yeah, let's carry on, people. So let me finish this tea cup. It's quite lit still. And obviously, I want to see what happened with the Forest game. So if we start here, this is obviously where the root of the rumors have come from, and then everything else is like a, you know, everything else kind of differs off. He's been linked with Barca, he was linked with Spurs even last week. He's linked with everyone in it. But apparently Gundogan is set to leave Manchester City this summer as club chiefs tell Pep Guardiola's first signing he is free to depart with just over a year to run on his contract. So there you have it. I'm sure Mahrez is the same as well. How long before Mahrez is linked with Arsenal Football Club again? It does seem like City, probably unless you're Kevin De Bruyne or Phil Foden, it's not that they don't want to keep players, but it's like, for me, I get the vibe where, you know, we want you to stay in that. But if City don't seem to make a fuss with keeping players, like if Jesus wants to go, you're free to go. Ferran Torres, you know, you're free to go. Raheem Sterling, I think they want to keep you, but if you want to leave, you're free to go. You know, Jadon Sancho, obviously, he wasn't a first-team player like that, but you're free to go. City seem a bit blasé. I mean, when you've got an oil stake backing you, you could afford all of this sort of stuff, innit? But apparently, as you look, he's got a year to run. He's 31. They probably need a new midfielder. You know, you'd imagine, why have they not gone for Frankie de Jong or something? I don't know. People act like Arsenal don't spend. We spend just terrible. But to be fair, you're right. Still, you know, even last summer, for me, it was one of the best summers we've had. But people might look at that subjective, because I like Ben White, for example, but I can't justify spending 50 million on him. I'll be real, you know. I like him. I like his potential. I think Arsenal have. I won't quite go as far as to say we've done a lot worse, but we've done a lot worse. But we needed people who think like defenders first. Obviously, Arteta wanted a ball playing centre half. He fits that to. He's not really street smart like that, you know. And you look around the market. Obviously, Kanate 35 million. Obviously, doesn't have the English tax, but look what he's doing for Liverpool now. See what's going on there. You know, the only people who got zanged is probably more than for a centre back last summer is probably United with Varane, really, and he's got quality. Not that Ben White don't. You know, he will get back. I would say for us, off the back of this is Ben White's second season. You know, 50 M's. Fair enough. You know, this is where we've got to be a bit smarter. Money's been spent. We just haven't had too much bang for our buck. If, you know, I'm not making this about Ben White, just illustrating the point Unknown Winner said. He's right in that regard. And for me, it's not even necessarily £52 million Lacazette, £72 million Pepe, you know, 50 million Ben White. They are one thing. And some of these players have not been bad. You just, pardon me, haven't got too much bang for their buck. I think Xhaka has justified his P's, but you speak to any Arsenal fan, you get a different answer. So there's them big money signings, but it goes back to, we're trying to flog Pablo Mari. Why'd you bring him in? Cedric stinking up the place, you know. Stopgap signings that are not levels. William, don't know how we thought we was going to get Champions League with them sort of dons there, but we did, in it. You know, it's this sort of thing. There's not too many signings that were like, raw, you're doing your thing. And that's why in the summer, last summer, I was kind of happy. Now, obviously, in recent weeks, everyone at Arsenal's crumbling. You know, the same way young players, you know, the same way it rains is the same way the sun comes out. And the same way there's sun, the same way it rains. There's been times this season where, in terms of consistency, Smith Rowe, Saka, all of these guys have been quote unquote overperforming, or like, you know, you're wondering when's the bad game coming, especially with Saka. And now you're kind of seeing it. Smith Rowe's juice has kind of run out. Saka's juice has kind of run out. You know, Ramsdale is starting to look like a 23-year-old keeper. Ben White's having a bit of a stinker. Gabriel's had good and bad moments. Even Tomiyasu's dropping a level because everybody's collapsed and he's had injury issues. You know, these are the things. When they're young players, they're volatile. That's for me why I keep saying I'm even more onto the club about, when you spend big money or for experienced players, you have to make sure they thrive, because what these experienced players do today sets us up for the future. Imagine in an ideal world, we pattern top four, you know, El Nene, Xhaka, these guys are not, and et cetera, et cetera. These guys are not going to be here for 10 years or so. But what we could have done in the summer in terms of the market could have helped really, and could have given, you know, a better platform for certain players. But that's not the way the cookie crumbles. I would say between overcompensating on certain players, there's certain things. And actually, you know, I was actually going to save this, but I was just thinking randomly, like, and it's in the title, I believe. I was thinking randomly about, like, what do I think Arteta can improve beyond the obvious? And I was trying to pinpoint, you know, for me, it's not here, but I would say the system. You know, I do think I know what he wants. I do think he wants to play attacking football, forward-thinking football, playing out from the back, all that jazz. And you've seen little flutters about it. But at the same time, I can't evidently tell you that. Like, even the games where you look at, I would say Chelsea away, United, home and away, actually, and West football, but I would say their emotion, that them games there was just emotion. So yeah, I do think I see what Arteta is saying, but football's a simple game. It does feel like with Arteta, you have to be this footballing genius, or you need to, you need to write for certain blogs, and you need to understand inverted winger and all of this sort of stuff to understand the system. Football's a simple game. A very simple game, complicated by dickheads, if I'm honest with you. So I would say that. I do think we're improving in terms of attack and defense, but fundamentally the numbers are horrible. We're shipping goals. We're not a good defensive side. We're an improved defensive side. And I said that when we was getting clean sheets. And I told, man, the same way we're relying on young players to score, it was volatile because we're doing Bandulu clean sheets. Like Ramsdale's popping off a save. The other team's not taking chances. We're not, it's not really good defending. It comes from the front. The press is meaty. Our attacking numbers are meaty. Our defending numbers are meaty. If you're not keeping clean sheets and you're not necessarily scoring, whether you're trying to stay in the Premier League, get out the Premier League, get into the Premier League, top 10, top 4 finish, goals win games, in it. This is literally football. I do think there's too much romance and there's not enough cerebralness. Don't get it twisted. Arteta has been harsh at times to certain people, but I think there's too much romance around. I look at Cedric, I look at El Nene, I look at certain players that definitely in El Nene's case might not be bad, but like it's like trying to dig a grave. To stop relying on mediocre players, and there's just too much romance. I would say improve fitness because of the obvious, and obviously physicality. We're not physical enough. Like it's too easy to brush past us. We don't hold on to the ball straight. No, there's not enough guys that are kind of solid in this team, and we need to be better than that. And I think Newcastle shown that. I think Crystal Palace away showed that. Different reasons, but to a degree, Shite Hart Lane showed that. So yeah, I would like to see my manager be I do think he's humble, but I would like to see him be a bit more humble and extend the olive branch with some players. Obviously, Aubameyang, Ozil, Guendouzi, these sort of guys have been rubbed out. Cool. One day, your top striker or your top goalkeeper or your best centre half or your best midfielder, one day you're going to have a conflict with them. How are we going to, it's very easy when Aubameyang's not in form or Ozil's finished, quote unquote. It's very easy to get fans on side and whatnot. But when it's someone that can help you, do what you need to do, that's something that we need to look at, in my opinion. Different systems, I think, and deploying them at the right time. Against Brighton, for example, he did change the midfield because of Xhaka's injury. He moved Xhaka to left back and he put Odegaard and Smith Rowe there with Lokonga. I like them things, but certain men are not ready for that. And in the context of that, we needed to bounce back immediately after losing to Crystal Palace. And I'm not being funny. You can't do that against Graham Potter. So I would say knowing when to deploy different systems. And definitely, I think, obviously, it's easy for me to sit here and say this, but I definitely think in our last 2 games away from home, we could have went with a back 3. And I think Arteta, for me, you need to consider losing battles and winning wars. You didn't have to beat Spurs. You didn't have to lose, really and truly. So I think at times there's that. We stumble across stuff and we don't switch it up. Going back to the Crystal Palace game, them times there, Xhaka, doing his further 8 thing, it left Tavares beyond the obvious exposed. So it's like we stumble across something and we work with it until it really gets collapsed. People, I would say squad management, and for me again, planning, and when considering the heavy fixture pile-ups or serious bits of the season, the overuse of players. Really, I think Klopp, Pep, obviously they've got better players than us, but they've shown what happens when you use the squad players. Obviously, Liverpool may or may not win the title, but and obviously, if we look back in Premier League years and they win it, all you're going to see is Salah, Mane, Firmino. Well, not really Firmino, but Diaz, all these sort of guys. But Minamino scored an important goal. They made 9 changes yesterday, got the job done. Certain Liverpool player probably forgot was there. So I would say just that, knowing that there's different periods and certain things. And for me, I wanted Smith Rowe and Odegaard to play against Newcastle. But if you saw when I did 3 at the back, I dropped out Odegaard. I think sometimes he tries to fit too many guys in. Now, if Odegaard's your guy, cool. But again, it goes back to the physicality point, does it not? Does it not, kind of people? So there's these sort of things to consider as well. So I would say they're the main things I would like to see him improve. But that was just trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, as you can see, apparently Gundogan is set to leave. He was Pep's first signing. Sportsmail understands that against an amicable backdrop, Pep Guardiola's first signing has been told he's free to find another club with a year remaining on his deal, people. He started 20 matches out of 37, but you might as well bring him and Fernandinho to the Emirates, man. While his club insists any talks would happen in the summer, it is understood that it's been communicated to the player that an extension to the existing deal is unlikely And given Gundogan's service, he has been given the opportunity to explore options elsewhere with 12 months remaining on his deal, people. Crazy. Right, he lives next door to his manager in the city centre apartment. Crazy. I'm sure they don't want to let him go, but certain things have to happen. Big up the Twitch gang as well, folks. Don't forget, is this it? If you can, please hit the like button. We go live. This will be on Twitch as well, but we're bringing our YouTube cousins in for that one. So yeah, that's where the root of Gundogan's link being linked to us has come from. Arsenal, Barcelona interested in lkay Gundogan. He's likely to leave. So let's see what's going on. Talks are ongoing between Gundogan's agent and Manchester City's board. No discussion about a new deal, just about his future with serious chances to leave the club. This is Fabrizio Romano. His trip to Madrid was not linked to his future. Barcelona, German clubs and Arsenal remain interested. Now, for me, at 31, you've been in the Premier. You've won all there is to offer in England. I'm going Barca. I might go. I'm 31 years of age. I've got a wife now. I don't know if he's got kids, but it might be time to start a family. I might go back to Germany. Maybe they say Bayern Munich thing, go and scumbag some trophies and whatnot. For Arsenal again, you ain't got Champions League. It's a myth, isn't it, really and truly? Arsenal said to be interested, but will only be an option if they qualify for next season's Champions League. As of now, they are on the outside looking in, but they have a chance. Several German clubs were mentioned as possible destinations as well. Gundogan is German and has played for the national team at all levels, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he might even join his brethren Mesut Ozil over in Turkey. He's of Turkish descent. I'm sure him and Mesut have spoken about it. I'm sure while he's a proud German and all these things, inside his family home growing up, the man there were Turkish. And I'm sure whether it was Gala, Fenerbahce, Besiktas, you know how Turkish men are and girls are. They're very passionate about football. And I'm sure his family was no different. And I'm sure you must have spoken to Ozil. That might even be something, again, every now and again, he's linked with American teams as well. So we'll have to see in it. I can't lie. Scumbag thing. Gundogan, Uncle Fernandinho, you lot need to come to London. Fernandinho might end up becoming the manager. He seems like a manager in disguise for me. So it is what it is. Away from that, as you can see, all the articles are coming out about Arsenal doing a Mazda. The first thing is Mikel Arteta had a nightmare start, fell out with the captain. He picked and failed to replace him, while his players lacked discipline and imploded. How Arsenal fell to pieces with Amazon watching. That's going to be epic, innit, Flip? The Gunners were well beaten and have and focus in big games. Yeah, let's be honest. There's been, obviously we beat Chelsea, we beat United, but I would say that that game management is high. We beat Spurs, that little bottle to get over the line isn't there. Game management and reacting to setbacks against United away, it was poor. Historically, Chelsea and City batter us, and there's problems with that. I'm not going to start the season. I'm not going to get at them. One of our better performances against City at home of recent years, or one of our best performances of the season, was in that defeat, but it was still a defeat. You speak to Arsenal fans, you would have thought we won it. So yeah, big games, whether it's reacting to setbacks, whether it's, as we saw against Spurs, and I know it might not be a big game in terms of Champions League beyond the obvious, but Newcastle's a big game. Matching the energies, being a bit more rigid, reacting to setbacks and all of these things we struggle with in it. So yeah, we know this. There's a lot of self-inflicted issues as well. But yeah, January is a massive point. Even if we got a top striker, if you concede in the level of goals we've conceded this season and in the last few games, you're not getting top four. But yeah, it's no coincidence. Newcastle made a couple of signings, Bruno Guimaraes, who should be in an Arsenal shirt, really. Dan Burn target their season's all right. Spurs, obviously, with a bit of help with the VAR for that Burnley thing. I'm a bit sour Spurs fans, but they signed Kulusevski. And I would say the most important signing is Bentancur. If they did not sign Bentancur, their midfield would have been shit. The battle when win the race. You can lose the battle when win the race. But, if you want top four, if you want to stay in the league, if you want to win the league, you need to go to difficult away grounds, City, Anfield, whatever, and get results really and truly. And we can't get away with it. Our record in the top games are poor. And that's the thing. When you don't necessarily win the big games and even the smaller games, there was a time where Arsenal fans were screaming, we're winning the games we're supposed to. You can't say for sure we're going to win certain games. I was saying, that 6-game period where we played at the tail end of it, we played Man United, West Ham United, and Chelsea. We had 3 bogey teams. all season. You can go back to my you know, in the summer when the fixture list comes out, I pinpointed that. I said, listen, it's not because I know anything. As an Arsenal fan, we know who the bogey teams are. Like you said, T there, Southampton, Brighton, throw Crystal Palace in there. We know these games are booked. And every game tells itself. I go back to Crystal Palace at home, much like Everton and Man United away. You were holding on, you took the lead. Now things happen, but we keep taking the, you know, there's been times we take the lead, we do not go home with 3 points. We don't come back from behind too many times. You know, I think we've done it once this season. We don't draw. If you score first, you normally beat Arsenal. It's literally all or nothing. These are things that I've got to improve, you know. And so when you've got a young volatile squad, you can't guarantee that you win that. You know, beyond the obvious, the one reason we lost to Newcastle was them and they are street smart. So when you can't guarantee you're going to beat them teams and you're shaky, everything needs to improve really and truly. You know, by Arsenal standards, we have been a lot better against them sides there. But I would say for me, I would say the main reasons this season is messed up with is, you know, obviously we didn't do what we needed to do in January. You know, we've got a bit complacent. Some young players that can't do it all the way, you know, Saka, Smith Rowe, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Ben White, everybody's kind of dropping off a level now, you know. Yeah, really, there's multiple reasons. I think the manager's shown naiveties. I think sometimes we haven't kept our bottle. In fact, a lot of the time, you know, there's many different reasons that have been here, really, and the team's a reflection of the gaffer. So, yeah, I mean, considering we was going to get relegated, we're doing all right. But, yeah, man, like, it should do a lot better. There's many things, and we do show a lack of discipline. We, you know, and this discipline ain't necessarily yellow cards and that. It's managing games. First 10 minutes, setting the tone. Last 10 minutes of the first half. Last 10 minutes of the second half. You look at half the time we concede, we're taking the lead and conceding straight away, or we're conceding at vital moments. Literally on the edge of half time against Southampton. 30 seconds, you know. Last 5 minutes against Newcastle, first 10 minutes into the second half. These sort of game management, and a lot of it is down to the manager. But at the same time, a lot of the players have to get themselves in check with these things. But let me see how long this is, people. Bloody hell, this guy's gone to town, innit? Blood. Gone to town with us. All right, let's start, man. Let's go all the way back up. Where is it? What is it saying, people? We know the start. We know the start was dead. You know, players collapsed to the turf at full time following their dismal 2-0 loss to Newcastle, with a collective feeling they had blown their shot at returning to Europe's elite for the first time in 6 years. All Arsenal can do now is their job by beating lowly Everton on the final day and hope that Spurs lose to already relegated Norwich at Carrow Road. Lol. It's possible, but it's a long shot. Charles. And Mikel Arteta will be extremely frustrated that their fate has been taken out of their hand. Well, you didn't seize the future, or you lot can only be frustrated with yourselves. But game since then, and are now 2 points off Spurs ahead of the final day against the Toffees. Looking back at crucial moments this season, nightmare start. You know what? The start was terrible in it, and that's the beginning of the end. Next season we have to start better. But I'm gonna for the obvious, we're gonna discount the start of the season, because I don't necessarily think that's why. It's still been in our hands, really and truly. This is more of a, for me, this is more of a problem than the start of the season. You know, we're betting on certain man. Arsenal's transfer business was a mixed bag. You could say at both ends. The club spent around 150 million on new signings last summer, and fans were initially left happy with the majority of their deals. That's a lie, because at the start, fans said, and myself included, we don't necessarily know how these lot are going to improve the team. You know, Ben White's not necessarily known as a good defender yet. He's been in the seat. This is his second season in the Prem. You know, Ramsdale, I love Ramsdale, and I thought he was a good keeper, but I didn't know he was down for the ball playing stuff. And the rest is self-explanatory, you know. And then man saw that there was some building blocks. So I would say that's a bit of a lie. Odegaard's gone from strength to strength. Tomiyasu's been a revelation, in my opinion. Lokonga's still young and whatnot. Tavares out of his depth consistently, people. Hauled off at halftime, respectively. So half the time he's away from home, he's shaky. Really and truly, like you saw with the foul throw at Newcastle. But at some point, you have to stop getting mad at these guys, isn't it, really? To get a grip on fourth spot and putting some decent form together, the squad were hit by an unwelcome distraction. Aubameyang began to butt heads with Arteta, which deflected attention away from the positive results on the pitch. After failing to return to the club from a trip away and being dropped from the squad to face Southampton, Arteta took the decision to strip him of his armband. Well, he'll be playing Champions League, much like Ozil. Guendouzi, potentially Saliba if he goes back on loan, claiming he had not shown passion and commitment to the team. Obviously, long story short, he signed for Barcelona. Big up to Aubameyang for what he's doing. And obviously, Arsenal, we've moved on now, innit? Obviously, there's issues there. We didn't sign a replacement. We were, we like to do the Disneyland Channel stuff. We allowed the purple patch of Lacazette and currently Eddie Nketiah to gas us, much like El Nene, Cedric at a time, etc. Like I said, there's just too much romance. We're betting on players that can do a little job for you 3-4 games, like with Liverpool. Minamino on occasion has done some dirt for them, but they're not gonna, suddenly injuries. They're not, because he's not levels, and they'll be cheating themselves. Arsenal are a mixed bag, and we flip flop. Really. I would like Eddie and El Nene to get new deals, specifically Eddie for the money. But again, if you're kidding yourselves, if you think you can build around these dons, there is a lack of discipline, clearly, really and truly. There's a lot, and I'm speaking lack of discipline in games. Calamities just happened. The only good thing about this game is Martinelli versus Trent, where they both did well. Obviously, Partey got sent off. We're moving mad. We've got a lack of discipline, and I think a lot of it comes down to just doing stupid things. But a lot of it is because we're not good thinkers. We've had 13 red cards under Mikel Arteta. 4 have come this season. While they may no longer be seen as a soft team, there's a lot more grit, but we're still soft. Holding got sent off. And again, a bit of it is Holding doing stupid stuff. But again, that's Mikel Arteta's naivety. He's leaving Cedric and Holding exposed. If you're a Spurs man, you listen. Arsenal or not, with our limited footballing knowledge, bro, put yourself in Conte's shoes. If you see Rob Holding and Cedric, it's not a back 5, it's a back 4. You're gonna tell Son get at him, and that's what happened. Obviously, St. Maximin went outside and got injured against Tomiyasu went outside and got injured against St. Maximin, but you saw the difference. Not diving in. It was the beginning of the end, and these players are meaty, but at the same time, could we have switched it? So yeah. We've had 4 sending offs this season. That's the second behind Everton. We've imploded in big games, and there's several, really and truly, namely away from home. Shite Hart Lane, Newcastle, Brentford at the start of the season. I'm being a bit harsh, but Brentford at the start of the season. What else is going? What else? Forest, Palace, Southampton. Bare things, people. So yeah, just outplay anyone that just wants to play a game of football, mashes us up, really. So yeah, man, it's brazy. And again, points on the board is all that matters, not games in hand and all of these sort of stuff, people. It's brazy. Inability to focus. Don't really know what you're getting consistently from the team. It is what it is. Very disappointed to go out of the cup at the first call of asking. And again, a big part as to that is because of the squad. Everyone just getting savaged, It was poor. It was very poor. And obviously, this is going to be lit on Twitch. We're going to do a watch along for that. So yeah, it's Kalas. Too much chattings. A lot of these players did talking. The best talking is on the pitch, and this is kind of the same thing, people. All the articles are coming out. They've been waiting. Lack of experience and quality. I would say that. I don't even think it's a lack of experience. Of course it is, but it's just naiveties across several aspects, really and truly. Like, well, at what point you're not making mistakes because you're young? You're doing stupid things. For certain players, average age of our starting 11 is 25. But again, it's all right. Too much jargon here. Come on, man. You can't. Well, I think Pepe can be part of the squad, but you can't do serious things with these names. Look at that. Since February, Son and Kane have scored 24 goals between them. We've got 5 with Saka. If you don't score, you don't keep clean sheets. It's a myth. The gamble backfired. But again, we probably looked at it as a cool. We're probably on task to achieve what we set out to achieve in terms of Europa. So while the fans will be mad about bottling top 4 and what it means, they'll get over it, sort of thing. And you've cheated yourself as much as it, because you ain't managed in the Champions League. Boy. And it's self-inflicted. As much as it is what it is, we have dropped silly points. We have not reacted to setbacks. We did not help the squad in January. We have overcomplicated stuff. We have been unable to manage certain periods of the season. You did all the hard work, and as I keep saying, When it gets to April to May, just don't undo your hard work. Just get the job done. You know, Aubameyang's one thing. You know, all these guys could have went, but I'm definitely looking and thinking, well, why did Chambers go? He's just sitting on the bench at Villa. Is he any worse than Cedric? Or did these lot actually want to get football in advance and these other guys stay? And that's another thing that jars me of Arsenal. Even the worst of players, you never get the vibe that the club wants to move them on. You never got the vibe that Marie, who should be gone anyways, wanted to leave. It was a thing where, okay, I want to go get some football. Not that the club wanted to move him on. And the same goes for half of these men. So, yeah, man, again, you need to look after yourself. You know, Arteta talked about previously maximizing every window, that whatever we have to say there. We have done what we can, and with what we're allowed to do, what we could, and the resources we had from the start of the season, the team that we're able to build is what we're able to build, and it's the team that has taken us all the way here. I mean, that was a lot of chatting. You know, injuries have exposed a lack of depth and a lack of quality depth, really and truly, and an inability. You know, Guimaraes, Longstaff, and Joe Linton are physically imposing characters. You know, Guimaraes has got quality as well, of course. That was always a myth, you know. El Nene's had his 4 or 5 game juice. Xhaka, you don't know what you're getting. Odegaard, not ready for them physical games there. You know, bullied. Xhaka and El Nene made 81 passes between them. And don't get me started on the midfield pivot. It's not levels. And, yeah, we can talk about injuries and missing key players. Of course, that's played a factor. But that's, you know, as I said, that's like a chef complaining he's cut his hand. It's going to happen. It's part and parcel with the business, really and truly. You know, you need to have quality of depth, really. And, you know, obviously part A season can be described as stop-start, really. You know, El Nene and Xhaka made 81 passes between them. Only 6 to Odegaard and only 5 to Nketiah. You can't dominate, you know, we can't defend. Our midfield, as I keep saying, doesn't stand for anything. Like, what is it? It's not physically imposing. It's not like Wenger where it's bare artists. It's not incredibly defensive. You don't really know. You look at Xhaka, what is he? You look at El Nene, what is he? How do they tie in together? Even Xhaka and Partey, our best pivot we can put together is not levels, really. And not levels to bet on in the season. Of course, we're going to, you know, Partey is a key part of our team. Of course, our win rate and all these things are going to be dramatically better with him in the team. Really. You know, some Arsenal fans say El Nene's played better than Xhaka. I mean, El Nene's played better than Partey has all season. So, yeah, man. We've only got ourselves to blame. And obviously, I said it with fitness. I don't know what's going on because I don't know for Tomiyasu, but was he ever this injury prone? Was Partey? Fair enough, Tini had 1-2 knocks. And this is it. For Tini and Partey, we probably need to find... But this is what we've been doing for years. We show just enough to get behind, historically, and we show just enough to be pessimistic about. So, pardon me, we'll have to see what exactly is happening in that regard. Again, Romano says Arsenal want lkay Gundogan, but there's a problem. Pardon me. If you don't get Champions League, it's a myth. Look, as you can see there, you don't get Champions League. That is a myth for him, isn't it? Really. What else have we got? Arsenal collapsing race for top 4 will leave them trapped in the same vicious cycle this summer with no Champions League. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, you know, we missed out on Guimaraes in the summer. I mean, in the January for being too indecisive. And look, our loss is Newcastle's gain, and you know, obviously they're going to build a great team in a few years. But if they don't, Guimaraes is going to head up somewhere and make them a decent piece. Really, you know, Guimaraes walks into our midfield. You know, he's definitely ahead of this man. But Arsenal fans will sit there and say, "Oh, who can do what Xhaka does and things like," which some have. I don't think Xhaka's a bad player, but it's this sort of nonsense that you know leaves a contract as long as he got top 6. The timing could annoy fans, but he was always going to get that. Really, I wouldn't say Arteta deserves his new deal, you know, per se. I think if he got top 4, I would say you've exceeded expectations. So yeah, I understand getting a new deal and it shows stability and things, but I think it should have ran into next season purely because it's a results-driven business. And when I look at it on a harsh thing, are we really going to supposed to do? You knew the remit of the role. You walked in. That's exactly, you know, are you going to praise your McDonald's worker for being able to put your burger in a bag? Respectfully, that comes with the territory, is what you should be doing anyways, isn't it, really? I do think there's too much extremes. There's either positive nonsense about Arteta or just unnecessary negativity. It's crazy. And this is the thing, bro. When you have better players, you can rotate Partey and Tierney and things. When you have shit dons, and you've got better players, you're gonna over rely on them. That's why Saka can't catch a break. That's why Saka probably ain't done much in the last few games. You know, beyond the obvious. You allow people to keep fresh. Physically is one thing, but mentally another thing. Really. So yeah, man, I don't wanna, you know, obviously Arteta's got his new deal. I still back the manager as well, but I don't back you unapologetically. You need to get top 4 next season. You need to get to the final of the Europa League. If we're messing about, you know, you need to have a good start to the season. If we're obviously the season's gonna pause in November, but if we're messing about, then you need to pull this one in. We need to nip this in the bud. Really, it's Arsenal FC. It's not individual players or the gaffer really. So yeah, man, it is what it is. In reality, only Saka, Partey, Tierney would interest the traditional Big Six clubs. I think Tomiyasu as well. And I wouldn't say Partey and Tierney purely because they can't stay fit now. Who's going to take them? But then again, if they sign for other teams, they would probably stay fit. I don't cap Smith Rowe as well, Martinelli as well. Look how Klopp's talking like, fam. You got Eden Hazard collapsed him. But yeah. So yeah. I mean, Saka will probably stay. He's contracted until 2024. I do think you and Martinelli will sign new deals. But if you don't sell him, man, I'm not being funny. As much as I love Saka, I've seen it is what it is. If you think other clubs can offer you stuff, sorry, folks. If you think other clubs can offer you stuff, do your thing, my guy. I've seen Thierry Henry and Vieira leave this team. As much as I love these youth players and what they're giving our team, it is what it is, people. You know, obviously, we did try to get Vlahovic. So on one hand, I do like how when we see a player, we want to get them. I do like how you're not just buying players for the sake of it. But if I look at it on a harsh one, it looked like you're going for a player that you knew weren't arriving, and you didn't have any backup. It's a results-driven business, really and truly. So yeah, big up the save wages though. It's brazy, man. It's brazy. So there we have it. You know, you can forget Darwin Núñez. I still think Telemans is a player that should, you know, I think Liverpool. I think. Man said, "Hey, chill out." I do think Telemans is a player. I'll be honest. I don't begrudge you for playing Champions League, but I don't think you're that guy to be saying it's Champions League or nothing. When it's Gundogan and all these dons, fair enough. You can forget about Darwin Núñez unless other teams move away and whatnot. You know, you have to forget about it. You know, you can forget. Obviously, United still look like they could sign Darwin Núñez, but they got the piece. You can forget about Darwin Núñez, and this is what I said, bro. You can't have Champions League, no Euro, no Europe, Europa League. All of these things should have been factored into our business in the summer. If we get this, we can do that. If we do that, we can get this. So regardless, I don't want to hear no excuses. Come the end of the window, you know you need a striker. You know you need a couple of midfielders. We know we need a couple of fullbacks. There's no excuses. Get the job done and shut up about things. It's as simple as that, really. Everything else is irrelevant. I think this is the same thing, really. This article's talking about how Newcastle could start raiding our players. Guys, change shit. I mean, I think we're good for a few years. I would imagine, really and truly. You know, and definitely Chelsea. I mean, Newcastle are still affected by FFP at this moment in time, literally in terms of what they can invest. So maybe in the next couple of years, but for now, it's a myth, really. You know, man, I'm looking at Joe Willock, bro. I rate the creativity. Talk about getting 2 and 2 and getting 1 million. Fair enough. If they want to raid us, we got that Pepe, we got that Leno, we got that Cedric, we got that Marie. Come and raid us, raid our team, bro. We got players, cuz. We got players, bro. We got players, cuz. We got players, cuz. What else is this? Big up Omari Hutchinson. Apparently, he's been named into Jamaica squad. Apparently, it's for a friendly. So, yeah, it is what it is. It's in Spain as well. Shout out him. Shout out him. Get this guy capped properly, man. Get this guy capped properly still. That's to go with Flores as well. Off topic, but apparently Dele Alli could leave Everton in the summer, just 6 months after signing a 2.5-year deal. It's been peak for him, people. It's been peak for him. And Everton just doing shit deals, really. Just shagging themselves, man. Would you take Suarez over Jesus? No, because Suarez is a good player, but where's the longevity? Champions League referee admitted he may have cost Arsenal their only chance of glory. Fuck you. We were 17 minutes away from winning that. I'll never forgive you, Almunia. Fuck you, you prick. The European referee Pussy has already admitted that he could have spared Jens Lehmann a red, admit the anniversary of Arsenal reaching their only ever Champions League final. We won, bro. FM settings. We won, bro. Restart this. I remember watching this as he, but I was crying tears of pride. I was proud of my team, you know. That should be made into a movie. Obviously, we didn't win it, but I was proud, man. No one gave us a chance at Juventus. No one gave us a chance at Villarreal. I'm capping with that. No one gave us a chance at the Bernabeu. We rocked up with Thierry Henry and a 16-year-old Cesc Fabregas and one Buki defense, and we moved to everybody. At this point, I would have liked to have taken a few more seconds before I made my decision. The ideal thing would have been to wait a few seconds. If I had done that, I could have given the goal and eventually given a yellow card. Of course, everyone wants a goal, so this was the key situation. Everything happens quickly on the pitch, and for me, it looked as if there was physical contact as well as that it happened in the linesman's working area. I had no reason to doubt him in this instance. Fuck you. Don't want to hear that, but we had to mention that, people. Obviously, it's Europa League settings. Make sure you're here later today, people. 7:45 kickoff. Charles, shut up. IG1, do you know what? I have to clap for you. Pause. You know what? Do you know why? Because you're loyal.